Well, talk about magnificent men in their flying machines. They go up, diddly up, up, they go round, diddly round, round, and they're inside. Well, Peter Vining is Il Presidente of Palmerston North Aeroneers, and normally you're out at Spur Road, Collerton, aren't you, flying your intrepid aircraft outdoors, but here we are indoors in Arena 2, Palmerston North, Pascal Street. What gives?
Well, this is the best facility, I think, in the country for indoor flying, and we just love the facility here. It's good for the guys. They can get their fingers working on the controls through the week, but we only have it once a month, and we, as you see, everything behind us is all electric, so obviously the fuel side of things is not allowed in the hall here, but everything's electric, and it just is another form of flying. So.
Well, for electric, they're certainly making a bit of a din, aren't they? It's like a whole lot of mosquitoes buzzing around. Where's my fly swat?
Well, it is that, but it's even louder in here. Some nights we get indoor cars, and they're electric, obviously, and we've had electric tanks. We've had all sorts of funny electric things fly in here and go around the floor. So yeah, the noise can be up there with it.
Now, electric motors, in my day, electric motors were relatively cumbersome things. Now, there's been some technological advances that means they can stick very small but powerful electric motors on these aircraft, and they go like the clappers.
Well, they do, and it's the other technology is batteries, and the batteries now are what we call LiPo batteries. Very small, very high voltage for such size of a battery. And that lightness it means that the aircraft can be kept light, and light aircraft fly better than heavy aircraft, so it answers itself.
Well, there's a couple of heavier craft over there, the quadricopter, for instance. I mean, there were 4 motors trying to pull that thing into the air. Not particularly aerodynamic, though, is it?
No, it's not. But there are models of them that are around that have got gyros in them, and that makes it a lot easier to fly them. As with your little indoor helicopters, they've got gyros built into them, and you can buy those helicopters now off the supermarket shelf, or your electrical store has got them. So they've got, the electronics has become a big player in this hobby,
and of course people can learn how to fly without doing too much damage to either their aircraft or themselves.
Well, damage does happen, but being most of these are made of foam, so they are very easily repaired, and in most cases if they hit the wall or the floor, the propeller breaks off because they're held on with rubber bands, and you'll find that they're flying again within a couple of minutes, so they're not too bad.
It's almost, some of them are just almost like paper darts with motors on them.
That's about it.
Really?
That's about it. But no, it's good to see guys who come down with experimental models. There's also some scale models here with biplanes. You might have seen the Red Baron's plane flying around there. But it's just an exciting thing to do, and in this great facility.
Your very own indoor air show.
Exactly.
Now, this is Russell Johnson. Now, you may not think it to look at him, but he is an Aeroneers veteran. In fact, he's a founding member of this club.
That's right.
Well, and you're still here.
Yep.
They haven't got rid of you yet.
By the grace of God, I'm still alive and standing.
Yeah, fantastic. When did you help set this place up?
This club, we first started it in 1946. We had our...
How old were you in 1946?
I was about 16. I just started work.
Right.
And we advertised and got a gathering of people together in the old Opera House. If you remember that.
Yes, I do.
And then we formed a
club. Where Farmers is now, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. And we formed a club under the name of the Manawatu Model Aero Club, which sort of carried on a tradition from the model movement pre-war. There was a club existing then, but we changed the name of it to the Palmerston North Aeroneers around about 1949, I think it was.
He's a noisy, isn't he noisy? Yeah.
Very, yeah.
Yeah, so 1946, after the war, all those sort of post-war privations and people were getting back to normal. So modelling was a bit different then than it is now?
Oh yes, yeah, and big difference between then and now. Whether you can remember back in the early days, I was involved with a gentleman with the name of Frank Olsen. Now he was the manager of the sports department of the old Collinson and Sons shop in Broadway. And they had a sports department which catered for all kinds of sports, including model aircraft. And he got all kinds of kit sets and model engines and balsa wood, all the necessary pieces that you needed to build a model plane. And Frank Olsen was one of the original founder members along with me as well.
Well, he had a built-in market then for the stuff he was bringing into Collins.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh, yes.
I can remember, Frank, I actually built several models from kit sets. There was the main supplier in those days was an outfit called Model Air, and they produced a whole lot of kit sets of rubber-driven models, all up around probably about 18-inch wingspan.
When you say rubber-driven, you mean with rubber bands?
Rubber bands.
Rubber bands.
That was the method of propulsion in those days.
Oh wow! Okay. So this is putting motors in the thing.
Just about.
Right.
And I remember building these models, saving up enough money to buy my first model airplane engine from him. And that was the start of it. You see, the start of getting into it. But of course, today, when you look at it, the modern type of construction, what you do now is you buy a assembled aircraft in a box, put it all together, what we call almost ready to fly. And there's all kinds of these things, different makes and shapes. And of course the modern radio control equipment we have now is pretty foolproof. Not like it was back in the very early days. And I can remember trying to fly a radio control model with a transmitter sitting on the ground in a little box, big high aerial, with a cord on it and a button on the end. And every time you pressed the button, you hoped the rudder would shift from the centre to the left or right, and it would turn the aircraft around and bring it back to you. And now, of course, it's all done with these little boxes like you saw over there, where you just push the levers. So it's a big advance and all that kind of stuff now.
And you're still enthusiastic enough to keep flying?
Yeah, well, not as much as I used to be. I've slowed down. It's called old age.
Oh, well, flying's kept you young.
Yeah.
And how many model aircraft do you think you have pranged?
Yes, I've pranged quite a few. I've built quite a few. But, I've got a garage full at home. My prize and joy is building scale models up to a 9-foot wingspan, and they have bigger engines in them, up to 30cc, glow plug engines, miniature petrol engines, which are a copy of the weed eater engines. Get a lot of those too. So the whole thing sort of advanced a lot. But now, of course, the next step, which I haven't taken yet, of course, is the jet propulsion.
Right. Now, I've seen some of these in action.
Yeah. 2 or 3 of our club members have got them. And they are just a miniature version of the full-size jet engine that you see in a full-size jet fighter. They sound the same, and they smell the same.
Just a scaled-down version of the noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, they do run a little bit quieter than a petrol engine. But that's the latest fad, and of course you can build models like Skyhawks and Vampires various aeroplanes like that, scale models, and they look very realistic in the air, and they have the same sound as a full-size one, you see.
Now, you got involved with the Takaro Rotary's Blokes and Sheds earlier in the year.
That's right.
Yeah. Open up your shed and people can come in and see your collection of
Yes.
models and scale models and aircraft.
Yes, I had an aircraft under construction on my workbench, and they all had a look and see how I went about putting it all together and what materials I was using, the type of engine I was putting in the front, and generally having a look at all the other aircraft I've got in my garage.
You get a good turn?
Yes, it sure was. It went all day, and I think we had probably the best part of about 200 people come through.
Goodness me! So there was that degree of interest in the whole
Yeah.
in the whole fundraiser.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
No,
incredible.
It went well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people came in that I knew through my days of work, and like that. It was very interesting and most enjoyable to meet up with them again and talk to them. It was good.
So here we are in a basketball stadium, so it's sort of natural we should start talking about the Jets. And Hamish Loveridge is the ideal person to talk about the Jets, aren't you?
Apparently so.
Apparently
Apparently so.
Now, we're not talking about the basketball. I mean, normally there's balls flying around in here, aren't there?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
but planes today, and but I understand that you have a model jet.
I do. I have a 2-metre wingspan sports aircraft which is powered by a kerosene fuel turbine. It probably puts out about 12 kilos of static thrust. So in the scheme of things, it gets the aircraft up around about 160 to 180 mile an hour. In the sky, so yeah.
And how long does the fuel tanks last before they dry?
On my particular one, I carry around about 2.5 litres of kerosene or A1 jet, and that gives me about a 5 to 6 minute flight with a little bit left if need be, but that sucks it pretty well dry in that time.
So 2.5 litres, that's 2.5 kilos. That's quite a weight to.
That is a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight. The whole aircraft.
That's
all
when
up.
I'm thinking of a bottle of milk here, you know.
Yep.
And yeah.
So the whole aircraft, dry without any fuel on board, weighs just over 10 kilos.
Right.
So flying weight, we're talking 12 to 13 kilos of flying weight.
That's a lethal flying object.
It is. It is. Yep, they do have the potential to kill somebody. They're very dangerous. They're very flammable. They are. The kerosene, if you've got kerosene on board and it just so happens to crash, the turbine is burning at roughly 400 degrees C, 500 degrees C. So it's a good source of ignition for a fireball.
I take it you've had a couple of these, have you?
No, I haven't myself.
Oh, right. But you've seen others.
Oh yes,
Yes.
YouTube is full of them.
So is your jet a model of any particular?
No, my
Mate?
one's not not a model of anything specific. It's just your design that's more for. It's my first one, so it's designed really for starters. It's a bit forgiving. It's not too unpredictable. So it's what we would call a sports aircraft. A guy who got me into it, he's into flying all the scale type stuff. He's got A4 Skyhawk and a Strike Master, which
Used to be our Air Force.
used to be our Air
Used
Force.
to be our Air Force.
Yes, very
yeah.
much so.
Yeah.
And he used to work on them in the Air Force. So yeah.
So how many members of the club is into jets?
In our club, there is 3 of us. So there's not many of us.
So you're the defence wing.
I am the defence wing. Yes, yes. But yeah, more and more people are getting into it. It is getting cheaper for people to get into. But to start off with, it's a pretty expensive piece of kit to get into.
And how do you build the confidence to actually fly it? Just by doing it,
Experience.
Huh? Yeah.
I've been flying now since I was about 10. So I've been flying 18 years. So you build up your experience by getting out there and doing it and challenging yourself and flying something that's a little bit more difficult, and yeah, then just suck it and see.
Right. And what was the initial attraction when you were 10 years old?
Well, I've been around them all my life.
Have you?
Yeah, my father flies, so it just happened.
Yeah.
Yep, just happened.
Excellent. Well, good luck with that jet.
Thank you.
And don't bang into anything solid.
I'll try not to. I'll try not to.
Well, if you do, make sure there's a camera trained on it so everyone gets the glow.
Hopefully the onboard camera is not demolished in the crash, eh?
Oh, you've got one of those.
Yes.
Oh, no, that adds a whole new dimension to it, doesn't it?
Yep.
So can you view, while you're flying the plane, can you view what it sees?
No. Basically, we just attach a GoPro camera to the fuselage somewhere and record the flight, chase people around the sky.
Oh, it's a drone.
Not really. Not really. I have to be careful there.
You do. Bruce Woodfield, you're a veteran member of this club. Apparently, you've got the
I've
silver
been a
hairs
member
to-
of this club for more than 40 years.
And what first got you involved?
Enthusiasm about airplanes, I guess.
Do you
Yeah.
fly real aeroplanes yourself?
Yes, I
Right.
have a pilot's license, but it's expired.
Ah. Oh,
Mid-air collision.
there wasn't there, eh? It was... Kadang. Yeah.
Life is not risk-free, especially flying life.
How many aircraft have you flown over this 40-year period?
Model aircraft, I own about 30 at the moment of which about half of them are in going condition.
30.
Yes, and some of them are being refurbished, and others I haven't yet completed kit sets.
Well, now these, do you specialise in any particular sort of aircraft?
Yeah, I specialise in designing and making my own airplanes, my own designs. I like to make something different.
And you've got electric
Yeah,
and,
I've got a few electric,
gasoline.
but I prefer the ones that make a lot of noise.
So,
Another crash, another mid-air. But what I like to fly is glider. I really like gliding. 2 metre gliders, bungee launched, a lot of fun. A lot of skill required, especially to land in the circle.
okay, so how does the glider work as opposed to these aircraft?
Well, we have a 2 metre glider competition. We bungee launch it to 200 or 300 or 400 feet depending on the wind, and then we have a specified time to fly, and we have to land in a circle to gain extra points. And it's like I said, it's precision flying. It's a different skill from flying these indoor things,
Right.
and it's something that I really like.
So when were they introduced to the pantheon of aircraft that the club?
Well, gliders were flown before motorised aeroplanes. So
I suppose they were.
yeah, so gliders have always been around. The first radio-controlled aeroplanes were basically gliders with single-channel rudder-only control, and very slow flyers, and that's how the old guys learned. Nowadays we have a buddy system, so the teacher can teach a student how to fly a fast-powered aeroplane, and the teacher can take over.
Right, so it's a bit like a dual-controlled car.
Yeah,
only this is a
exactly
dual-
the same
yes.
as a dual
So
control
someone
car,
can
yeah.
come along to the club
Yeah.
if they're interested in getting involved and be buddied up with somebody
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
learn to fly that way.
Yeah, and start flying the same day. The teacher will take the plane off, you can fly around a little bit, learn how it works, learn how it reacts, and the teacher can land it, and then gradually introduce the student to more advanced control until eventually he can land it by himself.